video, we're going to be talking about how to multiply and divide rational expressions. We're also going to be doing adding and or subtracting rational expressions. We're going to start out with the multiplication or division. The very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to rewrite this right down here. 63 n squared plus 168 over 56 n minus 21. When you're dividing fractions, you have to multiply by its reciprocal. Alright, so we're going to take all of this, put it up in the numerator. All of this denominator, we're going to put up right there in the numerator. And this will go in the denominator. That's the very first step. 1/7. Alright, hold on. Put it in there. There we go. Alright, now what we're going to do is we are going to break some things down into their factors. Okay. So right now, what is a common factor? What's the greatest common factor that goes into a 63 and a 168? If you weren't sure what that was, you can actually use your graphical calculator to do it. Alright, so you hit the math button, go to the right, go down to number 9. We're going to type in 63, comma, 168. Let's enter. What do we get? 21. So we know that a 21 can be factored out of both the 63 and the 168. What else can you factor out? If that's an n and an n squared, you can factor out an n, put over parentheses. 21 times 3 is 63, so we put a 3 and then another n. And 21 times what is 168? Yes, so these are the factors right there of the numerator. 21 n parentheses 3n plus n. Now what's the greatest common factor that can go into a 56 and a 21? 7. 7 times 8, 56. 7 times 5. Alright, so those are the factors of the denominator. Now we're going to go over here to the red. Everybody in the numerator, that's actually a sum of squares. Sum of squares. What's the square root of 64? 8. So 8n. 8n. Square root of 9 is 3. Those are the factors of 64n squared minus 48n plus 9. How in the world would you know that was going to work? What are the product? What's the product of 8n times a negative 3? That's negative 24n. And what's the product of negative 3 times 8n? Another negative 24n. When you add those together, you get that negative 48n in the middle. So the outer products and the inner products add up to that negative 48. What do we have in the denominator? Yeah, difference of squares. Alright? So, what are the difference of squares? What's that going to factor to? A minus 3, A plus 2. Alright, difference of squares always follows this pattern. You have a squared minus b squared, it's always going to be a plus b and a minus b. So now we have everything 100% factored. Okay? So now we can look through it and we can cancel things out that we want to cancel out. So right now, what can we cancel out? I can cancel out, let's do it in green here. That 8n minus 3 can cancel out that 8n minus 3. Okay. This 8n minus 3 can cancel out this 8n minus 3. The 7 go into 21? 7 goes into 21 a total of 3 times. And so now we got to kind of look carefully and go, wait a second, that says 8n plus 3, that says 3n plus 3. Those aren't the same terms. We got to be careful. So what do we have left that's not slashed out in the numerator? I'm just going to write it down here in the green. I have a 3, then I have an n. Alright, I think that's, and then we have a 3n plus 8. What do I have left in the denominator that has not been canceled out? 8n plus 3. So, if it doesn't ask you to expand it, this right here is the simplified answer. If you wanted to write 9n squared plus 24n over 8n plus 3, you could also write it like this. This would be considered expanded form. Okay? And this is in fact, everything's been factored out. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I'm going to put a fraction bar here. Look back at my answers, 3n. I'm going to type in a 3n, parentheses, 3n plus 8. 8n plus 3. 8n plus 3. Okay, check it. Alright. Alright. There is your friend. Now, if you expanded it, would it still have worked? It would have still worked if you would have written 9n squared plus 24n. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, the next problem we're going to do is making sure we know how to add or subtract rational expressions using unlike denominators. So here's your next problem we're going to write down together. Go ahead and pause it while you guys write that down. Or I'll just write it down while you guys write it down. 9y, 4y, plus 5, plus 8y squared, and we have 6y plus 5. Alright, so when we're doing this problem, we have to look for what's called the least common multiple in the denominator, the LCM. Okay? And the least common multiple ends up being the product of both of those together. So the least common multiple is going to be 4y plus 5 times 6y plus 5. That's going to be our least common multiple. So all we have to do on both sides is multiply by the one that it needs. So what does this one need that it does not have? It needs a 6y plus 5. So I'm going to put 6y plus 5 here. I'm going to put 6y plus 5. Whatever you do in the denominator, you have to put in the numerator. Over here, what does this one need that it doesn't have? It needs a 4y plus 5. So all we're going to do is our new denominator is going to be the product of both of these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if it accepts us without us having to expand it. I'll see if it accepts it without having to expand it. So all I have to do now is just simply multiply 9y times both of those numbers. So 9y times 6y is a total of 54y squared. 9 times 5 is 45. And that's all over the denominator of 6y plus 5 and 4y plus 5. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply those. Here we go. 8y squared times 4y is 32y cubed. And 8y squared times 5y is 40y squared all over 6y everything right now. Now we can add our numerators. Why can we add our numerators? Because our denominators are now, this right here, these are the same. So now I can add like terms. So what are the like terms that we can add in the numerator? 54y squared and the 40y squared. Okay? So here we're going to lead out with 32y cubed. Lead out with 32y cubed. We're going to add 40y squared and 54y squared. What does that give us? 94. And what do you have here at the end? 45y. Okay. All over. Okay, so if I factor, the only thing I can really factor out here, we're gonna figure out what numbers go into a 94. You know, divided by 2. 47. I don't know any other numbers like this with 5. 47. Can't divide it by 3. Can't divide by 47 is a 5 number. So the only number I can factor out is a 2, but I can't factor out a 2 out of everything. So here, I don't think there's anything that I can factor out other than the y. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Okay. 2, 4, and an 8 go in that. A 3 and a 5 go into this, and only a 2 and a 47 go into that. So we can't really factor anything out. So this is going to be our final answer. All right. If it's wrong, I guess we'll find out if we're wrong. All right, so help me out. What's the first number? 32y cubed. Y to the power 3. Okay, and then I'm just going to put open parentheses. Oops, not percent. All right, and if we get it wrong, well, I guess we'll find out. No, we didn't get it wrong. I guess we must have simplified it correctly. So what did I save you time having to do? Expand the denominator. Okay. Now, if you wanted to expand the denominator, what method would you have to know how to do to expand the FOIL method? Okay. So if you wanted to expand the denominator, this is what it would be. It would be 24y squared plus 30y plus 20y plus 25. So your denominator in expanded form would be 24y squared plus 50y plus 25. So if you would have expanded it, could you put that in the denominator and would have still counted it correct? Alright, let's just do one more since this is subtraction. This will be our last one that we do. Right here, we're just going to write it. 4y squared over 7y minus 9 minus, it's a little bit trickier because there's a minus sign, y plus 12 over 8y squared. Now, the first thing we check for our denominator. That denominator is not the same as that denominator. So what do we have to do? We have to find the least common multiple. The least common multiple between a 7y minus 9 and a y plus 12 is just the product of both of those. Okay? That's the least common multiple. That's going to be the denominator that we need to have. So right now, once again, we're going to multiply one side by something. We're going to multiply the other side by something. That's what we have to do. So what do you think we're going to have to multiply this 7y minus 9 by? The other one, you're right, the y plus 12. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. What am I going to have to multiply the y plus 12 by? 7y minus 9. You're right. There you go. Whatever you're multiplying it by what it needs. It has the y plus 12, but it needs this in order for you to have a common denominator. That's the very first step. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to distribute. Distribute these. Okay. So we get 4y squared times a y. That's going to give me 4y cubed. 4y squared times 12 gives me 48y squared. That's all over the common denominator of y plus 12 and 7y minus 9. Still putting a minus sign. It's going to be pretty important. Our denominator over here is still going to be the same. We created the like denominator now. So now all I have to do is multiply the 8y squared to both of those terms. So 8y squared, 7y, a total of 56y cubed. 8y squared times a negative 9 is negative 72y squared. So whenever you subtract, you actually, I would suggest you putting in parentheses to know that you need to subtract both of these. You got to subtract this one, and you have to subtract this one. Okay? So if I have 4y cubed, and I take away 56y cubed, what is that going to make it? It's going to make it a negative 52y cubed. But if I have a 48y squared, and I take away a negative 72y squared, what's going to happen to these? Those negatives are going to cancel to a positive, so I'm going to put a plus here. So now I have to add those together. So what's that going to become? 120? 120y squared. Okay? So that's all over y plus 12 and 7y minus 9. Okay? So y plus 12 and 7y minus 9. So what we're going to try to figure out is we're going to figure out if anything can be factored out of this. Okay? So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what's the greatest common divisor of a 52 and a 120. So go over here, hit the math button. Go to number 9, you're going to type in a 52 and a 120. It's a 4. So that's really the only thing we can factor out. So we're going to factor out a 4 and a y squared. Alright, it's going to leave me with a negative 13y plus, I factor out a 4 here, so it's going to be a 30. Okay. So what is that? That kind of lets me know there's really nothing that I can cancel out. Because 4 times 30 is 120. 4 times negative 13 is negative 52. Alright, so I'm going to put 4. If you had everything factored out, this would be your simplified answer. If you didn't factor everything, you could type in this, or you could type in this, and the Khan Academy, and it'll both work.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and type this in. We have, I'm just going to type in the first one. Negative 52y. I thought it was cubed. Negative 52y cubed. Okay. Plus 120y squared. Okay, and then what was our factored? We have, oh, just those two denominators. 7y minus 9, y plus 12. Man, I hope it's right. It's only an answer a mother could love right there. Kind of ugly. So, hey, we got it right. Sometimes you're going to get ugly answers. You just got to trust in the process. Okay? Well, why did I factor everything out? I was thinking, if anything cancels, sometimes things might cancel out if they're the same factor. But if they don't cancel out, then you got to leave it as it is.